Okay, so we are not considering the any sales, or we are not talking about any production, or we are not talking about any other activities. We are talking by majorly 90% of the activities we are considering on the procurement, purchasing related. So when you are buying the products from the vendor, outside vendor, so how you are negotiating with vendor, okay, what type of the agreements you are doing, what type of the business you are running in the your client side, okay, how you are receiving the stock, after receiving the stock, how you are controlling the stock, okay, and once you receive the stock, how you are verifying these invoices from vendor. So those parameters we are looking into that. So as I discussed now, we majorly looking into the purchasing, and we also looking into the inventory management and controlling, okay, and we are doing vendor invoice verification. So in interview point of view, if someone they're asking about the material management, what areas you have worked on, okay, you can clearly mention that whether you worked on the purchasing, you worked on the inventory management, you worked on invoice verification. So it depends on the you worked in the your client side, what areas you have worked. Sometimes what will be happen, we are working on all the areas. So you can straightforward, you can say that okay, I worked on all the areas like procurement, okay, purchasing and procurement both are same, okay, and inventory management and controlling and vendor invoice verification. Okay, so now when we talking about purchasing, okay, buying the product from vendor, okay, so here we will be looking into the selection of vendor, okay, and price negotiation with vendor, okay, and okay, and terms and conditions what we need to be, okay, terms and conditions all we discussing in the purchasing level, okay, rising the orders, rising purchase order, everything we are doing in the purchasing and procurement level. So I'm just putting on mute, guys. So whenever you have the questions, please unmute and you can ask. I'm just putting on mute.
Hello,
for
sir. Sir.
Please, yeah, Mahesh, yeah.
Sir, your voice is not able. Is not clear.
Is it
your
everyone?
voice is not clear.
Is it for everyone the same problem?
Yes, a little bit. There is problem in your voice, sir.
Okay. Okay, now how is it now?
Yes, sir. Now it is more
Yes,
clear.
sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, so let's, okay. So in the material management, we majorly looking into the areas like purchasing, inventory management, and vendor invoice verification. So these three areas we are working going forward. Any topic, any discussions which is relevant to these three areas. So please, guys, can you go on mute? If you need, if you have any doubts, you can unmute and you can ask. So I'm just getting some sound from the backend. Okay. Okay. Now, when we're talking about a procurement related, what do you mean by procurement? So you are planning to buy some product from the vendor. Okay. So how you can buy this product from the vendor, and what price you are buying the product, and how you are selecting the buyer. Okay. Is there any long-term agreements or anything which you have? Okay. All this type of the related to we will be discussing in the purchasing. And coming to the inventory management, after receiving the goods from the vendor, do you want to be validate the stock, and do you want to be quality checkup, and do you want to be transfer the stock to the block stock, because sometimes maybe the stock is spoiled or damaged something. So how you can manage those stocks? Okay, if you thinking that the product is not good and do you want to do the quality check, so how you can do this product quality check? And if there is a completely damaged, then how you can do the scrapping? Okay, if you suppose there is a some goods which is spoiled, so vendor accepted to return that, so how you can proceed to vendor returns? Okay, so all these things, inventory management and controlling is the majorly the parts is how the stock you are managing in the your store. Okay, so that will be a part of the inventory management and controlling. And invoice verification, vendor invoice verification is nothing but like a we are comparing the purchasing and inventory management. That means you created a purchase order with price 500 rupees. Let's say assume that I just the vendor is accepted with 500 rupees, Okay, so I received 100 pieces at the time of GR. Now, while doing invoice verification, we need to verify the invoice, whether we received the invoice with the same price, what we agreed, and how much quantity we received. Based on these two parameters, whether we received correctly invoice or not. Okay, if there is a price, it may be different, and if the quantity is different, then we need to be validate again. Okay, this invoice which is we received it's wrong, so we can block that invoice and we can inform to the vendor, boss, you send this invoice wrongly. So I just seen that there is a price difference is there and the quantity difference it is there. Okay, so I just validating all this matching, and finally we are taking the decision like if everything is good, then we are posting this invoice and we are confirming to the finance team to pay the amount. Okay, so again, if you see that in a vendor invoice, in case if there is a price difference is there, how you can manage. If there is a stock defective is there, the stock we are return back to the vendor, then how you can handle this invoice verification. Okay, all these parameters we are doing in the vendor invoice verification level. Okay, so going forward, we always discussing about these three areas. Okay, whatever we're discussing, the points are discussing on the topics, or it is connected to the this process. Okay, so in interview point, if you someone they're asking that what area you worked in the material management, then you can say that if you're more confident on all the areas, you can say that I worked in the purchasing area, I worked on the inventory area, and I worked in the invoice verification area. If you have the less confident on the invoice verification, then you can say that I worked on majorly on the purchasing and inventory. So whatever you say to the interviewer, okay, he will be more confident that okay, they will be more asking the questions on those areas. Okay. So these are the three areas. These three areas are the come under the material management. Okay. Any doubts in this point? These three areas. Any doubts you have? What are the areas we are covering in the material management? Okay, so in case of you don't have any doubts, I'm just going to the next topic. Okay, standard basic procurement process. Okay, so what do you mean by standard procurement process? Standard basic procurement process. So SAP, they understood that okay, based on the outside business, they understood that okay, generally this type of the business it is going generally in the outside. That means it is a basic process. If you want to be learn something material management, so this is the basic process you can follow that. But it is not necessary you should follow that, but you should know about this basic process. Based on this basic process only, you are mapping your special process. Might be in your business they are doing in the different business process. Okay, those even they are doing in the different way the business process, but the basic level, okay, the basic level the purchasing and the basic level inventory, the basic level invoice verification, all it we that SAP is provided that simple basic procurement process. Okay, so the below is the process which SAP provides that standard basic process. Okay, so you can inform to the vendor in case if they want to be go ahead for the this type of the process, standard process, you can suggest this process and you can inform that okay, these are the steps you need to be performed in the SAP. Anyone have the doubts? Someone right? Is it you're able to unmute or you're able to unmute, right? Balakrishna.
Yes, sir. I can able to.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay. Now, what is the standard basic procurement process in the SAP? Generally, if you want to learn something material management, this is the general process. Okay. Based on this process, you can do the buying the product and selecting the vendor and verifying the invoice, receiving the goods, processing the PO. All these things you can do in the this standard basic process. Okay. Now, what is the step one? If in the standard basic process, procurement process, what is the step one? Okay, let's take the example of the, let's take the example in your home. Okay, how you are identifying the requirements. That means where the exactly the start, how you started to think that buying the product. If anything you want to buy something, the products, how you will get this list of the products. So the first step is always is identification of the requirement. So in the identification of the requirement is nothing but like a, the first thing is before you are planning to buy, first thing is you should know about that what you want to buy. Okay, what materials you want to buy, what products you want to buy, how much you want to buy, okay, and where exactly you want to buy, okay, to whom I need to be in the where exactly I need to be get the stock. So the first step is here, if you see that identification of the requirement. In the identification of the requirement, the first thing is what are the materials are required. What are the materials are required? Okay, how much you required. Okay, then when you require this product, okay, and where exactly you require this product, right? So if you know this type of the small information, okay, you can get the information. Okay, these are the products I need. Okay, the first thing is what you need. The first thing is what you need. So what are the materials? Let's assume that I need Apple mobile. Okay, like suppose I 413 Pro 256 GB. This is my requirement. Okay, now or how many quantity we required. So let's assume that I need 10 pieces of this product. Okay, when you are required, let's say my target date is on 14/09/2022. Okay, this is my required, and where exactly it is required. Suppose my business have the different branches. Like I have the Hyderabad, I have a branch. Again, I have Vizag, Vijayawada, like Chennai, okay, Bangalore, Odisha. So like we have the different locations, we have the branches. So where exactly the address, okay? So the plant address, where exactly you required. So this is the basic information we need when you are identification of the requirement. So where I can get this requirement, might be I can get this requirement from the department, the financial people. They are asking that, boss, I need some laptops, I need some files, I need some papers, I need some pens. This is the requirement from the finance. Again, the HR department, they are requested something different like laptops, mobiles. Okay, like they are requesting that some articles. Okay, again, if you consider that, okay, administrative department, again they need some cleaning related articles. Okay, and again resources they need some okay, maintenance people they need. So depends on these all requirements will get from the different departments. Either we can get from the different department, or it may be we'll get the requirement from the stock purpose. Suppose I just maintaining this material, so this is a new brand, I just want to maintain these 10 pieces in my store for selling purpose. Then that is my stock purpose, storing purpose. So that is one type of the requirement. And the other requirement, like maybe customer requested some products, so we don't have the stock. So those cases I'm just buying from the outside and selling to the customer. So that is one type of the requirement. Okay. And the production department, the production people, they are planning to produce the finished goods. For this preparation of the finished goods, we need the components. So again, the raw materials and packing materials, again I need to check the stock. But I don't have the stock, then I will be buy products. So every time what will be happen when you identify the requirement is the initial step in the our basic procurement process. Okay, what you need, if you identify, then it is very easy to searching for the vendors. If you don't know what you need, then to okay, there's so many suppliers are there to whom I can contact. What is your requirement? How you can inform that information to vendor? It's difficult, right? So the first initial step always it will be like identification of the requirement. Okay, so that we called as a purchasing requisition. Purchase requisition in SAP. Okay, so purchase requisition is nothing but like a list of the all the requirements from the different department. It might be from the production department, it might be from the sales department, it might be from the HR department, marketing department, promotion department, finance department, anything. Okay, might be any requirement. Okay, which I just identified. Now let's say I got the requirement from the different departments, like I need around 10 pieces of the Apple 13 Pro 256 GB, and this is the date and this is the plan. Now the second step, step 2. What is the step 2? Okay, now I don't know who will be the suppliers. Okay, this mobile I know this mobile I required, but I don't know who will be the supplier. Why? Because when we are selecting the vendor, obviously 10 pieces of the Apple 13 Pro means obviously I'm just looking into who will be giving the best price, right? If it is single piece, then I can go directly and I can buy from the Apple store. But if I'm getting 10 pieces requirement, so I'm just looking in the marketing people who can give the best price. Okay, then I can buy from that vendor, right? So the step 2 is identification of the sources, or okay, finding the source of supply. Source of supply is nothing but like a supplier or vendor, both are same. Okay, so finding the source of supply. How you can find the source of supply? There are so many people are there. How you can find, and how you can justify that this is he is the best vendor. I'm just raising the RFQ, request for quotation, based on my top above requirement. Okay, I'm just creating the request for quotation. I'm informing to the my vendors, suppliers now market. Suppose Apple Care, Apple department is there, Apple Store, or Samsung. Okay, there is a like Bajaj Electronic stores is there, Reliance Digital stores is there. Okay, Pi store is there, or we have Chroma store is there. We have Amazon, Flipkart. Like we have so many vendors are there. So I'm just dropping this information to all the multiple vendors. Okay, in this RFQ quotation, what in the RFQ is nothing but request for quotation. Okay? Request for quotation. So in this request for quotation, what we are doing, we just informing that boss, this is my requirement. Okay, can you get this stock from your end? If you are okay to supply these codes, please send me your price. I'm just requesting that. I'm just requesting the multiple vendors, boss, give me your quotation, your price quotation. Okay, let's assume that I got that. The next one is I got the quotation. That means with price information we got from the multiple vendors. So then we'll be maintaining this quotation into SAP with prices. Okay, in this price, what will be happen? It is not only gross price, it is also maybe freight charges, labor charges, unloading, loading charges, packing charges, whatever it may be, whatever it is applicable, all it will be there. Okay, the quotation with prices we have received from multiple vendors. So what are the vendors we have? Amazon, Flipkart, okay, on the Apple store. Okay, they are, suppose let's say Chroma. Okay, so these are the we have different suppliers we have in the outside. So I'm just receiving the prices from these vendors. I'm just maintaining the SCP. So the next one is what we need to do. We need to be comparing all these prices, from vendor. Okay, that is we call as a price comparison. That we call as a price comparison. In this price comparison, what will be happen? Okay, we just comparing all the prices what we received from the multiple vendors, and I'm justifying that. Okay, who can the best price? Suppose let's assume that Amazon is giving that with a cost of 1 lakh rupees. Let's assume that Amazon giving that 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so without any so this is a free of shipment, and there is no packing charges, anything is not there. Okay, now Flipkart is providing same product with 90,000 rupees. Okay, but he said that we have 10% of freight charges. Okay. Now again, I just got the Apple Store. Apple Store, they're providing that 1,05,000. Suppose let's say 1,05,000. Okay. Now I got the Chroma. Chroma also, they said that, okay, they are saying that 1 lakh rupees plus we'll get the 5% discount, 5% discount, okay, plus and 10% of freight. So let's assume that like if we received like these prices. So when we're talking about Amazon, it is fixed that, okay, this is 1 lakh. Okay. Now when we talking about this one, what will be happen? Flipkart 90,000 plus 10% of freight. That means 99,000 total, right? And if you see that Apple Store, it is also fixed. They say that 1,05,000. And now when we're talking about this one, okay, 1 lakh they are giving, but they are giving discount like 5%, but freight is a 10%. So if you see that one out of 1 lakh, 10% is 10,000. So 1 lakh 10,000 minus 5,000. That means 1 lakh 5,000. Okay. So like if we get the different prices, then the system will understood that all these parameters, okay, all the prices, then finally it is comparing all the effective prices, then it will be give the rank one and 2 and 3 like that. Okay. Now after all these things, so who will be the best vendor here? Rank 1. Can I give to Flipkart? Yes. Why? Because he is giving this just 99,000 rupees. Right. Apart from this, comparing to the other suppliers, I can see that Amazon or Flipkart, they are providing with 99,000. Okay, they agree with this price. They are ready to dispatch these goods with this price. Okay. So after just we did all this analysis, we find that, okay, finding the source of supply, we identified that the best vendor. Identify the best vendor. So who is the best vendor? Flipkart. Right? Flipkart is giving less price. So I can buy from the Flipkart. So immediately what we'll do, once we received all this information and I just identified that, because in the top, if you see that, if you want to buy the product, what information it is required generally, the first information is what material it is required and how much you require and when it is required and where exactly it is required. Apart from this, we also need to be know that who will be the supplier to whom I need to write the purchase order. Okay, so that purchase order to whom I need to write the purchase order, that information we already got here. The Flipkart is selected as a best vendor, so he is my supplier. Now, apart from this, if you want to write the order, what information it is required, I also need to be understood that what is the price of the product. So that price of the product also I received here. So 99,000 rupees is the product which we received from the Flipkart quotation. Okay. So the next step is we got all the information. So what we are doing, we are going to purchase order. Raising the step 3, what we are doing, purchase order creation, purchase order raising. So in this purchase order creation, what will be happen? Okay, the purchase order creation, what will be happen? I know all the information what it is required, to whom I need to require, okay, to whom I need to write this order, and I know the price of the product, and I know the freight charges, discounts, surcharges, everything it is there in the above information. So immediately I'm just writing the purchase order with above information. So while creating purchase order, what information it is required? Vendor. So the first thing is vendor. Vendor, you know, right? Who will be the vendor here? Supplier. Supplier is the Flipkart. Okay. Now the next step is, okay, which material number? Okay. And how much quantity? Okay. And when you require. That means how much is the nothing but like it is quantity. Quantity how much? Okay. And when you require, that means it is like the date, delivery date, when it is expecting, you are expecting, when you are expecting this stock. Okay. Now, out of this one, I also need where exactly, where you need. So that means plant address. So the basic thing is when you want to create a purchase order, you need the information of the vendor and you need the information of the material number and how much quantity is required, the delivery date and the plant address. These are all very important to create the purchase order. So these are all information I know, right? Already I know this vendor information and even I know the price also. The price also I know, right? So everything I know, I just creating the purchase order created with for quantity. How much quantity it is? In the above purchase requisition, if you see that we identify that how much required. So how much it is required? 10 pieces. So I'm just raising the purchase order with 10 pieces for above material for vendor. Okay. Now purchase order created. The next step is monitoring, PO monitoring. So why we need to do the monitoring, PO monitoring? So once I send this information to the vendor, that means I'm expecting the stock on the particular date because you already agreed in the quotation. So this date you are ready. So you're planning to dispatch the goods. So now in this PO monitoring, what we'll do, you are just monitoring that PO, whether the vendor is accepted the PO, whether vendor is provided the acknowledgement, whether vendor is confirmed that okay, this quantity we are sending to you. Okay, all this information we are verifying at the time of the PO monitoring, and we keep on sending the reminder mails to the vendor if we didn't get any information like confirmation, acknowledgement, okay, on any special topics. If we didn't get, then we will be we will be sending the reminder mails to the vendor. So that is the PO monitoring. So PO monitoring is nothing but like we just monitoring that PO and follow up into the vendor. Okay, let's assume that. So we follow up to the vendor and he also agreed that he is dispatched the goods. So we are expecting the goods today. Okay, the step 5 is we are expecting the goods received from the vendor. Okay, that we call as a goods receipt. That means we are receiving the goods from vendor. Okay, after he dispatched and we receive the goods, we'll be doing the goods receipt, GR. Okay, so in the goods receipt, what will happen? Okay, we just entering that when I receive the stock, okay, and I just entering that what material it is I received the stock. I'm just verifying that the material number and how much quantity you ordered in the PO, okay, and whether you are accepted, you received all this quantity from the vendor, okay. Then if everything it is good, then we are paying, we are ready to verifying the invoice based on the what we received the stock from the vendor, right? So in the goods receipt, what will be happen? We are checking the quantity, how much we received, and who will be the supplier, and how much quantity you received. Okay, all this product characteristics and quality, everything they are validating. So material management level, once we receive the goods receipt, so whether it should be go to the quality management view, whether they will be taking care about all these quality parameters like validating all the products again. Okay. Then once we receive the stock, we are keeping the stock in our premises. Then what we are doing, the step 6, what we are doing, we are verifying the invoice. Verification of vendor invoice. So who will write the invoice? The vendor will be raising the invoice. He will be sending on the vendor invoice. Okay, that invoice we are checking that was okay. Today I just sending this quantity to, I received this 100 quantity, right? So the vendor is saying that I just send today 100 pieces to you. So I'm raising the invoice. Please pay the amount. So you are doing what you are doing here. You are verifying the vendor invoice whether he entered correctly or not. What you are verifying here, GR quantity. So quantity matching as per my order and as per my received and whatever the invoice it is there, whether the quantity is matching or not. Then PO price. Okay, if suppose price is a price he confirmed in the he confirmed that price it is like 100 rupees, 200 rupees in the 100 rupees in the PO. But at the time of invoice verification, he said that no, it is not 100 rupees, 120 rupees. If we write the 120 rupees, whether you are accepting for the 20 rupees or not. Okay, why? Because as you agreed that you are saying that 100 rupees for 100 rupees, I will get the stock. but by ending of this vendor verification, okay, I just verifying the invoice. I received the stock. I received the invoice with the high price. Then I will not accept that. I will return. Okay, reverse this one, and I will be informing the vendor, boss, you send the wrong invoice, and please correct that. Okay, in case, okay, it is everything is correct. Quantity it is matching, PO price it is matching, everything it is matching. Okay, then what we will do? Okay, we will be accepting this invoice. That means we are posting this invoice, okay, and we are releasing further to finance team for payment. Okay, so then the next step is step 7 is what will be happen in the step 7, the payment process successfully from finance team. Okay, so what here in the above all these steps 1 to step 7, SAP is giving that SAP advising to the business, okay, you can go ahead with this process to identify the suppliers, you can find the price, you can find the quantity, how much you require, you can find these steps and you can go ahead. Okay, so this is the continuous cycle. Okay, if you want to buy today one product, maybe tomorrow if it is different product, again this cycle will be start. So the cycle will be started with the how much requirement, what is the product it is required, how much it is required, everything we just identified at the time of purchase requisition. Then we are processing that to identify the vendor, who is the best vendor here. Then after this one again, we are just checking the quotations and price comparison, all these things. Okay, finally we decided that this is the price, we are good. Then what will be happen? They will be creating purchase order with reference to the above confirmed price and confirmed vendor, and we process this PO and we monitoring that PO. Then we receiving the stock. After we are receiving the stock, we will be verifying the invoice, and then we'll be reaching to the payment process. Okay, so this is the one standard cycle. Okay, I'll just show you this cycle, how it will be, how it is like round of the cycle. Okay, so now if you see that, the, did you able to see my screen here, PPT presentation? So this is the procurement cycle, basic procurement cycle. Here, what will happen? The first step, it is like a determination of requirement. That means when before going to buy any product, you need to be decide that what is the product you required, how much you required, how much product is required. Okay, when exactly it is required. All these things we need to be identified in the determination of requirement. Then source of determination. In the source of determination, what we're doing, we just identifying that who will be the best supplier. But in this process, vendor selection process, we following that RFQ quotation comparison. Okay, based on this all thing will be identified that who will be the best vendor selection. Okay, then vendor selection is completed, then we'll be going with the PO pricing, PO processing, then PO monitoring. Okay, then once PO is completed and they confirm that they are supplying these goods, then we'll be receiving the goods, then we'll be verifying the invoice what we received from the vendor. Okay, so this is the continuous cycle. Okay, and this is the basic cycle which generally everyone using. Okay, but some cases what will happen, some companies they're not going this process, might be they have a special process, like okay, they will not be buy the product, and might be they will be buy product but they will not be receiving the goods. Okay, they will be doing some different ways that we'll be discussing in the furtherly. Okay, that processes and all we called as a special stock procurement. Okay, if you see that this procurement cycle we called as a basic procurement cycle, but whatever the next topic which we are discussing, that is a special stock procurement. That means these are not standard, but based on your company you are following this process, we are informing that okay, this is the one kind of the special stock process. Okay, so any doubts on this P2P cycle? Anyone have the doubts on this PTP cycle? Just save this backup class. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, I'm just going to the next topic, which we are discussing about the special stock documents. Okay, so what do you mean by special stock documents? So apart from this above standard process, okay, there are some companies they are following the different ways. Okay, so might be they are following to their own way of the style. Okay, that they are running their business. So what are these type of the different style of the business that we are discussing now? Okay, before going to this one, I'm just repeating that if anyone have the doubts, please let me know, or else we'll go ahead. Is it my voice is audible? Okay. Okay, then I thought that okay, no one is not confirmed that okay, no doubts. I'm assuming that. So I will go with the special stock procurement process. Okay, these are also business scenarios only, but these are the special cases. Okay, not regular cases. Okay, so might be depends on the business they are following that this process. The first step is third party process. Third party procurement process. So what do you remember third party procurement process? Okay. So I am the running the company. Suppose I'm just running the company, but I don't have anything which is like I don't have any store, I don't have any manufacturing distance, anything. I don't have anything. So my job is getting the orders. Okay, my job is getting the orders, informing to the suppliers, and the supplier will be supplying these goods to directly to customer. So generally how it will happen, if I order, then I will get the stock, right? But in this third party, what will happen, we'll be ordering the goods, we'll be receiving the orders from the customers. Okay. So these customer orders, what we will do, we'll be informing that, okay, these are the requirements we received today. So please plan dispatch the goods from your end. That information we are providing to vendor. So here we are not dispatching to the customer. The vendor will be dispatching to the customer. Directly, the vendor directly the dispatching goods to the customer instead of we are dispatching to the customer. Okay. So generally, do you know anyone have the example for this? Okay. Online shopping. If you see that Amazon, Flipkart, if you see that, so they are doing only just getting the orders from the vendors. Sorry, getting orders from the customers. Then they will be informing these customer orders to the concerned team, who are their like sales team or maybe procurement team. Okay, they will be informing that boss, this is the requirement we receive from this customer. Okay, so these are the not my own location stock. So we are please informing to the vendor. Okay, then they will be informing to the vendor. Okay, you need to be you need to be sell this goods directly to the customer instead of you are sending to me. Please drop this stock directly to the customer. Okay, so if suppose I got order with Daibo iPhone 256 GB with 1 lakh rupees. Suppose that's the same cost 1 lakh rupees from the customer. So when I'm just informing to the supplier, okay, the supplier when he is supplying to the customer, he said that okay, the stock, okay, I can give it to you. That means I can give it to company 90,000 rupees. But the order we received with 1 lakh rupees. So when the vendor directly dispatch the goods to the customer, okay, then out of 1 lakh rupees, the 90,000 rupees will be paid by our company, and the 1 lakh will be received from the 1 lakh will be received from the other company to my company. That means vendor to our company. Sorry, customer to our company. So here, what will happen? The 1 lakh minus 90,000, it is 10,000. That is our profit. Okay. So this is a third party procurement. Here we are not receiving into my location the stock. The stock directly dispatched from the customer to vendor. Sorry, vendor to customer. This is called third party procurement. So, customer order received by our company. Customer order received by our company. Okay, our company inform to the vendor. Okay, the requirement, what is required. Okay, and also the company informing to the vendor okay, how much, where is that, what is the exact location, what is the exact location. So if you anyone can see what is the exact location here, dispatch location from the vendor. That means here is the our plant, our company address, or it is a customer address. When we are creating purchase order to the vendor, okay, here we are entering that our address, or it is customer address.
Customer address.
Customer address. Why? Because I clearly mentioned, right? We will not be receiving the stock from the vendor to our location. We informing to the vendor, boss, please send these goods directly to the customer so that we can save that some time. Instead of you are sending to me, again, I'm just preparing the shipment. I'm sending to the customer. That will be a long process, and this is the shortest period. You can dispatch directly to the customer. Okay, that this is the address from the customer. Okay, then we can see that I can get the payment from the vendor. So I can get the payment from the customer and I can pay amount to the vendor. The remaining balance will be the profit. Okay, so that is a called third party procurement. Okay, so imagine Flipkart, Mindtree. So there are so many other online shoppings, they are doing this process. Okay, even okay, Swiggy also. Swiggy, what will happen? Swiggy will get the order. So Swiggy will be informing to the nearest restaurant who will be, to whom they order, and the order wala the might be the who will be the the hotel, that means the restaurant wala, they might be they can supply directly to the customer. Okay, so sometimes what will happen, Swiggy people, they are working for the Swiggy, but sometimes what will happen, for the restaurant wala, they will be dispatched. Like if you see that if you order something Domino's pizza will be delivered by Domino's team. It is not by Swiggy team. If you order from the Swiggy also, the stock will be dispatched from the Domino's people. They have their own team, delivery boys, they will be supplied these goods. Okay, so the order only receiving by Swiggy and the processing by Swiggy. That means payment processing by Swiggy, but the delivery, everything will be dispatched by Domino's. Okay, so that is the third party cycle. So any doubts on this process? So can I go ahead for the next topic? Okay, if you don't have anything, then I can go with the next topic. Subcontracting process. So what do you mean by subcontracting process? Anyone have the doubts on the subcontracting process? Anyone have no idea about that subcontracting process? So the subcontracting process is nothing but like a, okay, here the raw materials and packing materials and okay, other components like perishables, all these things. Okay, these are all products are my products. Okay, but I cannot produce FG product. That means final product. Okay, so but I have the components. If I just want to buy this product from the vendor, okay, generally what will be happen if you want to buy the any product from the buyer, the components, raw material, everything it is belongs to vendor only. But in this case, subcontracting process, what will happen? These are all my products. These are all my components. Okay, due to might be I don't have machinery, I don't have the production department, I don't have resources, I don't have time, I don't have space. So what we are doing, we just informing to the subcontractor, boss, I have these components. Can you produce the products? Can you produce the FG product by using my components? Okay. So generally this FG product we called as a parent component, parent material, call as a parent material, and this we call as a child component. So if you want to understand simply in your home, you can take the example of the red chili powders. Okay, red chili powder, what will be happen? Red chili powder, what will be happen? I have the red chilies. Suppose let's say I have 100 kgs of red chilies because I bought separately this red chilies, or might be I have the farmer, I have land, I'm just getting these red chilies every day from the my land. So I have the red chilies, but I don't have machinery like mill, or it maybe who will be producing this red chili powder. Okay, so I don't know the exactly machinery for this, and I don't have the manpower. So what I'm doing, I'm just sending this red chilies to nearest to job worker, that means subcontractor, and informing that, madam, can you use this my red chilies? Can you produce the red chili powder? Okay, so then they will be making the red chili powder by using our own products. Okay, then we are paying the amount to the vendor whatever the job work he did. That means for producing the product, whatever the labor charge might be, the power charge, or it may be machinery charges, what, okay, the service charge, whatever it may be, only we are paying only that cost. We are not paying for the entire red chili powder cost. We are paying only for the service cost, because the red chilies are my stock. He's doing just service, he's doing just job work. So those type of the thing we call as a subcontracting process. So any other example you can give? Any other example can give apart from this red chilies? Can give the sugar cane, sugar. If you know about the sugar, how they are manufacturing, by using these sugar canes, they are manufacturing the sugar. Okay, so out of this sugar cane, we see that these sugar canes we are will be getting from the farmers. Okay, these farmers, they will be, what they will do, once they collect all the 100 kg of sugar canes, they will be go to the nearest factory, sugar factory, and they will be give these all sugar canes to them. Okay, and they will request that to produce some sugar by using my sugar canes. Okay, so might be it is only sugar canes, or it might be some other products also, maybe multiple raw materials, multiple packing materials, anything. Finally, I need some FG product. For that, I just recommending, I just checking with my subcontractor. Okay, can you produce this product? Okay, so this called subcontracting process. Anyone have the doubts on the subcontracting process? Did you understand that? So here concept is subcontracting process concept is, we have components, okay, but we don't have machinery or manpower, okay, or anything, might be whatever it may be, etc. Okay, we requesting to subcontractor, please use these products. That means the components, my components, okay, and components, and requesting him to produce the final product. Okay, so this is called subcontracting process. Okay, so this is the one kind of the business process. Now let's go to the third process. Anyone have the doubts on type of process? Can I go ahead for the next topic? Anyone have the doubts? Can I go ahead for the next topic? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. The next one is vendor consignment process. vendor consummation process. We general calling as a vendor consummation process. So even in the ST chart also they have the customer consummation process also they have. So it is a similar like a vendor consummation process. It is supplier side. Okay, what do you mean by vendor consummation process? In this vendor consummation process, what we are doing, the company, our company and the vendor have the good relationship, and both are they discussed and they are finalized that okay, the vendor he is saying that okay, I can keep the stock in your premises, that means company premises, but it is not required you need to pay immediately the payment for the all the stock. So what you need to do whenever you are using these products in our premises, that means whenever you withdraw the stock or you are utilizing the stock, whenever you consuming the stock, okay, then you can pay the amount to me whatever you consume the stock. That means out of 10,000 quantity, if you for today I just consumed only 100 pieces, then I can pay only 100 pieces to this vendor consummate vendor. Okay, so the vendor supplied the bulk stock to our premises. Okay, and it is okay. We loaded and storing this stock in our premises. That means maybe in the location. But here if you see that we are not paying amount immediately. That means the ownership of the material will not change even when the company receive the stock. When the ownership will be changed, when the ownership will be changed, will change. Okay, the first thing is the consumption or withdrawal the stock from vendor consumer stock to our own consumption. Our own consumption or maybe withdrawal something whatever maybe our own consumption. Okay, this is the one case. Okay, or it maybe it is just sold also, sold to customer. Okay, so here what will be happen? Here we are paying amount to vendor only whatever we consumed, whatever we withdrawal or we consumed. We are just to draw all the stock and we just using this product for my own manufacturing purpose. Okay, or might be there is a other case, transferring the stock from consumer stock to our own stock. Own stock means ownership will be changed. So what is this, sir? Okay, so what is this? The second step is, suppose the vendor supplied the bulk stock in our premises and he accepted to that whenever you withdraw the stock, you can pay the amount, but that is for a particular period, like 6 months or 8 months. After 8 months, if you're still not able to consume all the stock, okay, you need to be decided that whether you need the stock or not. If you don't need the stock, then you can return back the stock from the completely to the vendor, or if you need the stock, if you still have the demand, then what you can do, you can taking the stock into my ownership and closing the vendor consummate PO and paying the amount to the vendor. Why? Because he cannot wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, right? There will be some agreement. This is a particular period. It is like, okay. So these two cases only we are paying the amount whatever we consume the stock. Okay. Other than that, we don't need to be pay any amount until you are consuming the stock or you are transferring the stock. Okay. But we already received the stock in our premises. It is in the my location only. But this is not my owner's own stock. It is a vendor consignment stock. Okay. Clear? So example, can you give me an example here? Electrical goods. Electrical goods, if you go to the any electrical showroom or if you go to any multi-branded electrical showrooms, what will be happen? There are so many brands there. Every day it is releasing in the market. So suppose iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone Pro Max, everything it is releasing at a time. Okay, so my store, it is a big store. So I can keep the stock at least 10 pieces of the each model. Okay, so that customers are attracted and they can buy the products. Okay, yeah, but if you see that each and every product, it is like around 1 lakh rupees. That means I need to be spend around 30 to 40 lakhs. So every time, whenever they are releasing the product, if you want to spend that much amount, and if you want to buy that products every time, it is a very unuseful, right? Because sometimes the product will be okay demanded, some products are not demanded. So what we will do, I will request to the Apple store, Apple department, boss, I cannot buy all these products at a time. So you can do one thing. I can just provide this promotion into my location. I just keeping that one rack entirely for this Apple store. You can keep the stock in my premises. Whenever we just selling to the customer, immediately I'm paying this amount to you. Okay, so that you can start, you can activate the warranty or guarantee, whatever it is there, you can start it. Okay, so majorly it is like a vendor consignment process we are using for the electrical goods majorly, like refrigerators, washing machine, televisions. These are too expensive products, right? Those cases we are using. Okay, so that is the vendor consignment process. Any doubts? Okay, now okay, now the fourth step process is STO, stock transfer order. So what do you mean by stock transfer order? So stock transport order is nothing but like a, we have own manufacturing plant. Okay, I have own branches are there. Okay, and we have the multiple company codes are there. Let's assume that okay, I have Tata Steel. Tata Steel is the one company code, and again Tata Communication is the one. Okay, Tata Communication is one. One it is again other company code, and Tata Sky. Okay, this is the one more which is there. Okay, and Tata I plus. Okay, this is the one type of the agreement, one type of business. If you see that all these are, it's a Tata brands only, and that means the parent, the above company is the same. Okay, the group of companies are, it is a Tata company groups. But if you see that every time, if you see that the Tata Steel is completely different entity, Tata Communication is completely different entity, Tata Sky is completely different entity, and Tata I Plus is completely different entity. That means even if it is my own company code also, okay, the business you are running at this process level, Tata Steel is the separate level, because your profit and loss accounts and your accountings, all you are maintaining at the company code level. Okay, because business to business and okay, there is a subsidies from the government and they have the terms and conditions from the subsidy. If suppose cigarette is there, okay, cigarette, if you see that cigarette or something like okay, non-alcoholic products, so what they will be do, okay, these products you always buy, you have to pay some extra tax for like 70% of tax and service tax and everything. If you see that if it is education related, then they will be charging only 2% or 3%. So there is a different taxes and subsidies is there in the each and every business level. So when you starting the business, okay, based on your business, you need to be justified that you are registered your at company code level. Okay, then now if you see that Tata Steel is completely different, Tata Communication is different, Tata Sky is different, Tata I Place is there. but all is my Tata group. Okay, so there might be have the chances. The requirement is from Tata Steel to Tata Communication. We are just transferring some goods. Again, Tata Communication to Tata Sky. Some maybe goods we are supplying, we are sending. So there might be possibility just stock transferring from one company code to another company code. So this type of that, even we just doing stock transfer also, that means we are not selling, but legally if you see that these are the different company codes, that means so legally it is a buying and selling concept. So this type of the process, how we are buying the products from the different plant, different company code. So that we discussing in the STO, stock transfer order. So that is a one type of the procurement process. Okay. Any doubts in this process? If not, we can go ahead to next topic. Okay. Next topic is RTP, returnable transport packaging. Returnable transport packaging. What do you mean by returnable transport packaging? Returnable transport packaging is nothing but like a sum of the products. Okay, some of the products which is very difficult, which is not possible to carry without any packing material. Okay, that means these products, if you want to carry, you should use some container or you should use some packing material. Okay, to carry these products. So these products, comparing these products, if you, the actual product cost is less, but the product what we are using to transport the our packing product, that is too expensive product. So how you can manage this type of the product, because you order something like actual product is different, but you get that actual product along with the packing material. So this type of the procurement, how you can handle. So let's example gas cylinder. Gas cylinder or maybe water cans, okay, or maybe oxygen cylinders, whatever maybe. These are all. If you see that the gas cost is 900 rupees, but a cylinder cost is, it is like 6,000 rupees. It means too expensive, right? So, so like if you today, I'm just using 30 gas cylinders, 30 heavy gas cylinders if you are using. So if I'm just want to use this 30 gas cylinders, okay, if I don't have proper tracking of the packing, that means cylinder tracking, okay, it might be mismatched. Like either I can pay extra amount to the vendor, or vendor will be losing some like packing materials. So there should be some tracking. So you order something like gas only, but you are getting the gas cylinder. You cannot avoid these cylinders. So how you are procuring this type of the cylinders, and how you are managing these cylinders in the location, and how you are returning this stock back to the vendors after consumption is completed. That means gas consumed already, used already. To those type of the empty cylinders, how you are managing. So those type of the procurement we call as a RTP, returnable transport packaging. That means whatever we are getting along with the transport packaging material, that packing material, how you are returning back to the vendor, how you can manage in the stock. Okay, why? Because sometimes what will be happen, I have own cylinders also in my, maybe some situation what I did, might be I bought something 10 cylinders, 70 cylinders. Okay, might be, right? So if I just want to compare that my own cylinders and the vendor okay, packing related cylinders, how you can manage these all things we are discussing in the RTP process. Clear? Okay. Now procurement for sales order comment. Okay, procurement for procurement for some project, budget project. It's like a something like budget. Okay, so the first process we call it as sales order procurement process. Sales order procurement process. and this is we call it a project orders procurement process. So what do you mean by project order procurement process, and what do you mean by sales order procurement process? Okay, sales order procurement process is nothing but like if I get some sales order customer requirement, especially for this customer requirement, we are buying some products. Okay, and those products are the customer related, customer requirement related. So that means when we are creating the order, when we are receiving the stock, especially this stock is reserved for the only for this sales order. This is especially customer requirement. Okay, so those we call as a procurement for the sales order requirement. That means sales order procurement process. That means let's say example, take one example. Okay, Sachin, he is requested that he needs some customized sports model car. Okay, that means it is especially for the customer requirement. So in this case, if you are manufacturing this product, might be you need some products, right? Some raw materials or packing materials, which I need to buy from the, especially for this requirement. So those we call as a, we are buying whatever the products for the sales order. Okay, that's we call it a sales order procurement process. In the same way, project order also. Okay, we just suppose, let's say I'm started one project and I allotted some budget, like suppose let's say 10 floors of building construction. That is my project. Okay, here we have so many work items, like different activities are there. So each activity which I'm just considering like, okay, boss, this activity, this is the cost. Okay, this is the budget. Okay, out of 10 floors, suppose 10 floors, my budget is 1 crore. Out of 1 crore, okay, I'm just going with that first floor. For first floor building, it is like 10 lakhs. First, okay, for slab, it is 20 lakhs. Again, second floor, third floor, like I just divided that each and every level one budget. So again, when I'm just starting to the for floor construction, okay, for floor construction, whatever you are buying, the chips or sand, bricks, okay, or crane services, resources, labor, whatever it is there. Okay, if you are especially you are buying for the this activity, okay, that will be how you are managing in the system. Okay, how you can restrict this budget. Okay, if it is crossing that budget, how we can restrict, and okay, and if it is crossing that, then we'll be restricting that. Okay, there is no further purchase orders created for this project because it is already crossed. The budget is already crossed. So here the concept is work breakdown system, WBS. So WBS is nothing but like a work breakdown system. So each and every activity or it is a level of that we just consider as a one WBS. Okay. So each WBS we are allotting one budget. Whenever you're buying products for this WBS, the system will be checking that what is the exact budget and how much it is remaining it is there. If it is crossing that, then it will be give the error message and it will inform to the budget project team manager. Okay, boss, this is budget is crossed. So, but still we need some product, then they will be extend that and they will be approved. Okay. So this is the kind of the procurement for project. Okay. Now, the next one is direct consumption. Okay. So direct consumption is nothing but like a, okay, we are buying this product is not for the stock purpose. These are the especially directly consuming by someone. That means maybe department, finance department, or maybe HR department. They need this product immediately. With okay, they don't want to maybe keep this stock in the store location. Directly they are purchasing the stock and they are utilizing the stock. Okay, so this direct consumption is nothing but like a whatever the stock we are buying, it will be directly consumed by who will be requested. Okay, maybe finance department, HR department, or production department, whatever maybe, it will directly consuming that stock. Okay, clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now if you go to the next process, we have concept like ERS and invoice plan. Okay, So ERS is the nothing but like a evaluated receipt settlement. Evaluated receipt settlement. What do you mean by evaluated receipt settlement? Evaluated receipt settlement is nothing but like a sometimes when I'm just buying the product from the vendor, okay, the vendor is very close to me and he is my regular vendor, so I'm good with that vendor. So we have the agreement like, okay, so I don't want to be waiting for the invoice till the vendor is sending the invoice and verifying that invoice, checking the PO price and checking the inventory stock. So to avoid all these things, what we are doing, we activated that automatic invoice generation. Automatic invoice generation is nothing but like a, we will not receive any invoice from the vendor. We will be receiving only stock. Okay, as per our best relationship, what we are doing, once we receive the stock from the vendor, immediately I'm just raising the invoice in the background based on my PO price and GR quantity. So no need to be wait till vendor is sending the invoice and I'm just checking the validating the vendor invoice, what is the price, what is the quantity they entered, okay, what is the terms and condition, tax value, what they entered. All these things I don't need to do here. In the evaluated receipt settlement, what will be happen? The system automatically generating the invoice when the goods receipt completed. Immediately it will be write the invoice. So that automatic invoice planning, automatic invoices generation can do using the ERS concept, evaluated receipt settlement. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to the invoice plan. So invoice plan is nothing but like it is also automatic invoice only. Okay. But in this case, generally we don't have any GR. We don't have any GR. Okay, these are the like some type of the activities like, okay, like suppose I need to pay some amount to the vendor. Why you need to pay some amount to vendor? Because I'm using their services. What type of the service? Like let's assume that I'm staying in their home, their house, so I need to pay some rental. So every month I need to pay some amount to the vendor. So there is a fixed date. We are paying the amount to the vendor until I'm staying. Maybe my agreement like 1 year agreement, 2 years agreement. So I'm just staying their home at their factory, or I'm utilizing their factory. So I'm paying some rental to them, or maybe I just need to be pay some EMIs, something like. So those cases how you can go. There is no GR expected here, but because these are already you're staying from long time and you are paying that amount once the month it is completed, right? Maybe for month advance you are paying that amount. So in this invoice plan, we have the two types of the invoices. One is periodic invoice plan. So this periodic invoice plan is nothing but like a periodically system will generate it automatically the payment, like rentals, rent, EMIs, whatever it is. If you are paying defaultly this amount, even for the salaries also, you can say salary every month you are paying 10,000 to this guy. So that is also you can consider. Okay? Periodically invoice plan. Okay. Now the partial invoice plan. Partial invoice plan is nothing but like a some cases what we happen. Okay, we are conducting some survey like customer satisfied survey satisfaction survey. So in this case, what will be happen? Okay, I just suppose let's say I launched a new product iPhone 14. Now I just decided that I just go to nearest agent, the vendor, boss. Can you do some survey about my new product? How the people are happy with that? How many people they want to buy? How many people they want to go with the old model only? How many people they are looking into the new generation? So like I just to the Apple team, they are uh, connected with the new some team, and they are started to be doing this entire survey. So here their bonding, their agreement like the complete it is like 10 lakhs rupees. the entire survey is 10 lakhs rupees. Okay, so they will be dividing like partially out of 10 lakhs rupees. They were dividing that 5 lakhs I will be paying initially when you started work. Then after the 5 lakhs, it will be like 10 days after. Okay, again 5 lakhs like it is 20 days, 30 days after. So like they divided that based on the phase 1 stages. Might be they completed some 10%, 10%, 20% like that. So this partial invoice plan is nothing but like out of total amount, we are defining that these are the dates we need to pay this amount to this vendor. So here also no GR. We just using their services, okay, their kind of the activities, and we are paying that amount automatically to the vendors. Clear? So you understand
Yes,
that
sir.
what is the difference between a periodic and partial?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now next, going to the next topic, which is like, okay, service procurement. Service procurement. So the service procurement is nothing but like a, okay, some kind of the services like painting, cleaning, okay, or maybe if you see that we are getting like some service organizations, they are providing like saloon, okay, services, painting services, cleaning services, okay, some mosquito cleaning services like room cleaning services, okay, all this type of the services, okay, when we are taking this type of the services, how we are procuring, how you are managing the services, how you are paying this amount to these services. So those we call, we are doing with service procurement process. Okay, so how you can handle the service procurement services, how you can handle in the SAP system, that we call it as a service procurement. Because in the service procurement, if you see that we are not receiving any GR again, here only we are receiving activities. Like suppose I just say that, okay, we have the 10 blocks. So each block you need to be clean. So first block if you clean, okay, then I will pay some amount. To second block if you clean, then some amount. Third block if you clean. So like different activities I'm just providing. So how many activities you are completed? Based on this activity, I can confirm that I can pay the amount to you. Okay. So this called service procurement. Clear? Okay. So these are a different process we have in the outside. Generally, based on the different cycles, different their concepts and their businesses, they are going with their business process. Okay. So how you can handle this all into the SAP, that we are going to be discussing in the further practical classes. Okay. So any doubts still here?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, so let's give to the 10 minutes break and we'll start again at 8:40. Okay. And we'll continue another 40 minutes and we'll close the today class. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay. We'll connect again 8:40. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.